Well, take a look at your screen right there, that bright flash. Investigators in California trying to figure out if that bright ball of light seen over northern Cali was a meteor and if it was what destroyed a couple's home, and it was captured on that dash cam Friday evening.
At about that same time, a man nearby heard a big bang and then smelled smoke. He walked out of his home to find that it was on fire.
In our consumer alert this morning, check your pantry for Nestle's edible chocolate chip cookie dough tubs. They're being recalled because they may contain soft plastic film. The batches were produced from August 1st to August 3rd and were distributed to retailers across the U.S. People who have them should return them for a replacement or a full refund. Details available on the FDA's website. The Moorhead Parks Department looking for funding to improve Romkey Park and even build a new pool, and officials say improvements will be heavily based on your input.
There is a website where people can share comments on an interactive map and take a quick survey even. Some other ideas are a skate park, tennis court, community room, and soccer field there as well. Let's see how people are responding now to that question of the morning on Facebook. Our question, the last year that a U.S. car had this as standard equipment was in 2010.
And here are some of your answers. Jadine says a trunk key. George says an ashtray. And Dave says a manual shift. Whoa.
My first car only had a trunk key. It did not have a latch. Yeah, no, it had a separate key that could only open the trunk.
Okay. So that's what we've learned today.
Yeah.
To leave your answer and join in on the conversation, head on over to our Valley News Live Facebook page. We'll be back with the correct answer, though. I know we're all on the edge of our seats. What's it going to be?
All right. Well, new for you at 6:30, Minnesota is one of the states targeted by the Justice Department for poll monitoring today. It's just part of the Valley Today's continuing coverage of the morning of Election Day 2022.
Plus, a last-minute lawsuit in a state that could tip the scales of power in Congress. We'll break it down when we come back. And Lisa Green joining us with a look at our morning forecast. There's a lot to take in this week. You won't want to miss it.